Nothing in real life looks as good as it does in the commercials. They're perfectly timed, incredibly beautiful, and in some cases, absolutely impossible. No, really. The reason it all looks too good to be true is because usually it is. In a cutthroat market, companies are constantly finding new ways to make their products look that little bit more appealing. So let's take a proper look at how all those flawless commercials are really made. Hair products. A study conducted by hair care brand Suave found that 74% of millennial women don't think you can get the hair shown in commercials. And they're not wrong. How do companies make you think you can achieve mountainous volume? With styrofoam balls pinned to the back of the model's head. Then a combination of the model's real hair and extensions are combed over it to give it added height. How about shampoos that promise incredible length and condition? Are they wearing wigs in those photos? Guess again. In those shots, fake hair is clipped onto a board which the model is lying down on, and their own hair is then incorporated into. Solves the problem of using pretty models with short hair. And that perfect hair flick? It's a total setup. Studios use special light diffusers to make the hair appear shinier. And instead of using a fan, they hire men in green suits and set the model against a green screen to flick the hair with rods. The men are later edited out using CGI so the hair isn't messed up and the whole effect looks achievable. I want a refund. Xfinity cable. Nostalgia alert! Christmas 2019 saw the return of 80s icon E.T. in the Xfinity cable ads. The emotional commercial sees the original actor who played Elliot reunited with E.T. and introduces him to his family. But how did they make the hilarious little alien appear even more realistic in Christmas 2019 than he did in the 80s? For a start, it's not winter. The advert was shot months in advance, meaning the whole set was covered in fake snow. And E.T.? Well, he's real. An animatronic puppet was created specifically for the ad instead of using just CGI to really hit the hearts of fans. By using CGI to remove Puppet's poles before adding details like dilation of his eyes and his breath in the cold, E.T. was brought to life almost more than he was 37 years ago, all to sell you cable. Nothing is sacred. Apple HomePod. Apple has been commended in the past for its incredibly captivating adverts. Why explain technology when you can show it in action? And their Welcome Home HomePod advert is no different. Featuring FKA twigs, the advert tracks a woman dancing through her apartment and impossibly stretching the walls and floors out around her. How was CGI able to create such a close match to human movements? Fun fact. It didn't. The whole scene of the advert is a custom-built set designed to extend, bend, and move with the dancer's choreography. It relied on a combination of huge hydraulics and human push power and took great physical effort to create. So why not just use CGI? Having the scene move around gives the actor a more tactile feel of the space, making the advert as a whole look way more real. Reactions are sharper and movements are more accurate. I guess if you have as much money as Apple does, it's a small price to pay to make your product look like it can do the impossible. Old Spice. An absolute classic. Old Spice adverts set the bar for creative commercials. Many of their adverts are viral sensations with a clever combination of comedy and scenery. So what is the secret to multi-million view commercials? Look down, back up, you're in the air. Well, you're not, but Isaiah Mustafa is in the Scent Vacation advert. In order to keep the camera focused on Isaiah, arguably the biggest selling point, the whole advert is shot in just one take. This means he's hoisted into the air whilst the scenery is all mechanized to fit in with him. He barely has to move a muscle. Even the portion where he lies horizontal on the piano is shot while he's vertical. Lights, mics, and pyrotechnics all revolve around him, meaning your eyes never leave the focal point, and CGI is only used later to emphasize things like making the goat appear real and editing out the wires. I'm on a horse. Cereal commercials. Ever wonder how a yogurt or cereal product manages to look so good with the milk and berries swirling together before landing in the bowl? Or traveling through a veil of sugar to show how sensually sweet the food is going to be? And how come there never seems to be any mess? Well, I can tell you it takes more than just good timing. Love High Speed recreated a classic cereal commercial to demonstrate the effort that really goes into it. Specially made high-speed cameras and a fully robotic setup release the berries and milk at specific angles and in perfect sync to get the authentic milk splash moment. There's nothing spontaneous about this setup. And as for the veil of sugar, look no further than Steve Geralt. This visual architect uses robots to create fully automated food setups specifically for commercials. For example, this one fires berries through a tub of pouring sugar and times it perfectly down to the millisecond to capture it in slow motion. Burger shots. But that's not all Steve has made. We've all seen fast food commercials where the burgers seem to bounce, as if they've been freshly made in thin air. Well, take a look at the rig Steve has used to make those burgers really bounce while still seeming real. Each layer of the burger is hung up by elastic hovering just above the ground. Then you can see the automatic servos cut the elastic of all the food simultaneously while the camera quickly tracks their fall. One by one, each component pancakes together to form the perfect bouncing burger. But what about the sauce? To make the ketchup and mustard collide, Steve 3D printed a small twin catapult that would fire the condiments at one another. All of this is captured in seductive slow motion that we find hard to resist. You can even see how quick this goes in real time in contrast to the finished commercial. Flex tape. For those of you who have been living under a rock, let me introduce you to the man, the myth, the legend, Phil Swift. From Flex Seal, famous for its super strong waterproof flex tape that claims it can instantly patch any hole, Flex Seal put its products to the ultimate test in this commercial. Phil cuts a hole in a boat, repairs it using only one layer of flex tape clear, and sets sail into shark-infested waters. But are there any holes in this advert? Well, the team specifically flew out to the Bahamas so that the color of the water looked even better on TV. And not only that, they baited in sharks off the island's coast using bucket loads of chum. But Phil's not sailing all by himself. He has hands under the water to give him the perfect placement. Drone shots in the middle of the ocean allow them to capture incredible scenes showing Phil supposedly alone in the water. But the boat is just off camera. He doesn't go anywhere without his Flex Seal family. Makes you wonder what they could have done for the Titanic. Lay's. Usually a commercial can be shot and filmed in a couple of days. That is, unless you choose to use stop motion, a method which captures every frame of a video individually. It can look really cool, but it depends entirely on the deadline. Take this Lay's advert for example. At only 10 seconds long, you'd think it would only take maybe 30 seconds to really shoot. But food is such a tricky subject to shoot due to things like breakages and changes at the slightest touch, so most food stop motion is actually done without touching the product. This requires a series of sophisticated stands and connective pivots, along with makeup to make the food look better, lighting tests, and manpower. So all in all, a 10-second commercial can take over a day to film. Hershey's. S'mores are an American classic. Graham crackers, roasted marshmallows, and chocolate. It's hard to go wrong when it looks this good. And even harder to go wrong when you realize this is all put together by robotic helpers. That's right, to give that real edge of perfection, all these ingredients are lovingly assembled with perfect robotic timing. We're looking at Steve Geralt again, who created this incredible advert using a fully automated robotic arm system to bring all the real-life components together. But even robots can't always get it right the first time. After a little touching up to remove the robotic arms from the otherwise perfect s'more, the finished product ended up on the Jumbotron over at Times Square. Not the actual s'more, the video of the s'more. God, that would be messy. Dunkin Donuts. Coffee adverts are usually designed to make their products look as delicious and convenient as possible. But Dunkin Donuts decided to take the idea of a quick coffee run to the next level. In 2018, they teamed up with Ellen Brennan, a wingsuit expert, to show how quick their app was. But how real is all of this? Almost all of it, except for the Dunkin Donuts hut, which was erected purely for this stunt, and the app use wasn't real. But Ellen really did manage to aim herself at that order from all the way up in the mountain, except what they don't show are the many other attempts it took before her aim was spot on. On a couple of occasions, she was less than 12 feet away from the ground when trying to complete the grab. Traveling at over 200 kilometers per hour? Maybe it's the sheer craziness of this idea that makes it so flawless. Could she pick me up a cappuccino, I wonder? Guinness. There are a few things that get the English heated up, quite like the Rugby World Cup. Every year is an intercontinental battle, which is exactly what Guinness portrayed in their 2011 commercial, Some Are Made of More. In it, we see a battle between two armies, like something that's been plucked out of 300. It's total carnage, ending with the victor driving his flag into enemy soil. So how were they able to make such a chaotic battle look so realistic? Manpower is the answer to that one. Over 370 cast and crew were involved in the shooting of the 60-second advert, along with 20 horses, 57 swords, 2 giant cranes carrying rain machines, and a helicopter, all shot in the desolate battlefields of Hungary. No expense spared, it would seem. But aren't battles usually fought with thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of men? And that's what it looks like here. Enter the CGI department. Given that everything on center stage is real, it's easier to add in background features that look realistic rather than building everything from scratch, which would be madness. Madness? This is drama! Mercedes-Benz Fable commercial. We've put a lot of focus on the real-world changes advertising companies make over their CGI counterparts, but they're equally important in making a commercial look flawless. So how would you build an entire world from the ground up? Have a look at the Mercedes-Benz Fable commercial from the 2015 Super Bowl. Believe it or not, the beginning of the commercial was genuinely shot in a forest. But CGI needs more control over the natural elements, so blue screens add in a lot of layers to increase the field of depth. This means the world is slowly built up until you have something like this, a 3D looking set that appears natural, but still has plenty of extra features such as the Mercedes-Benz logo and a spider web. These can then be incorporated with more real-world aspects such as the car itself, where all the CGI is built on top of shots of the car doing stunts and tricks. Why film a world when you can just build one? Domino's. Is there anything more satisfying than watching strings of gooey mozzarella form between a fresh pizza slice and the rest of the pie? That's the sign of a quality pizza. But in adverts, the cheese pull isn't a spontaneous action. It's a carefully choreographed maneuver that requires a whole team of experts. Just take a look at this behind-the-scenes footage from Domino's. No, you're not imagining things. That's a power drill. The pizza is drilled into place so it doesn't move as the key slice is removed, and the nails are hidden with slices of pepperoni. It's an essential part of the perfect cheese pull. Don't believe me? Well, take it from Domino's professional cheese puller and hand model, Margaret.
I've done many cheese pulls in my day. It requires great concentration. You have to know when cheese is ready to be pulled, just feeling the cheese. I breathe when I lift it up. I go, shh, shh.
Thank you for that invaluable insight, Margaret. But she's not the only one on set, and there are about 150 people involved all to get 30 seconds of camera time, including chefs, cameramen, cheese sifters. Hold on, back up. Cheese sifters? Surely this can't be real. Is this a parody? I don't know. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And if you know of any other commercial secrets I left out, make sure to tell me in the comments. Thanks for watching.